Thank you so much for watching my biggest Blunders Fading Forward. It's a platform where we invite professionals, entrepreneurs, artists, entertainers to share their stories, blunder stories, mistakes, with the whole idea of sharing lessons. Probably we're going to learn from today's guests. And I'm looking forward to this. And thank you so much. It's long overdue.
I know.
Right?
Thank you very much.
So we have today Morongwa, right?
Thank you.
So who's Morongwa? Where is she from? We'll talk about what Morongwa does.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for having me, and it's a pleasure to be on your platform. So, Morongwa is a girl from Limpopo.
Which I found it very difficult to believe.
To believe, right?
Yeah.
So, born and bred, Kobo home. Grew up in the villages and went to boarding school my entire life. Yeah. So I went to primary. I went to Meridian.
Meridian in Pretoria?
No, in Polokwane. So I went to Meridian. From then I went to Dendron High School, primary school. Yeah. So from Dendron I went to Northern Academy until I matriculated in Northern Academy, Polokwane, like the original Northern Academy, the one in Flora Park.
How? Okay.
Yeah.
So what happened? Did your parents say we don't want you? Or you were like, yeah, I want to go, I want to leave.
I don't know. So I'm the youngest at home, so I felt my dad just wanted something different, right?
Okay.
So from the get-go, in fact, from preschool, it doesn't make sense, but from preschool I went to boarding school.
Yeah.
Go Westernburg. It was a colored community, so I went to preschool Kotengi. So all my life, so I've always never been home.
So you last of how many siblings?
Of five. Yeah, I'm last
sisters?
of five. I've got two sisters, two older sisters and two older brothers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
you were the one who was always being protected.
Yeah. So I think my dad was like, okay, with this one, probably let's just do something different.
Or he was like, I'm tired of growing this kid. He was just go.
Yeah. Listen, but actually, I do value that experience.
Yeah.
I do value that.
It's an amazing boarding school is an amazing experience.
And as a matter of fact, I feel like I would definitely take my kids to boarding school because I think that there's some lessons that you learn in boarding
at
school.
an early age as well.
At a very early age, like imagine being a grade 1, go boarding school. Relying on someone to wake you up. Making sure you're dressed well. Up until you are able to do those things yourself, when you wake yourself up at a particular time, you've been given pocket money, you know how to save it, you know how to save your food, making relationship as well, finding friends that you can, count on. It's almost like, I feel like boarding school is like an extended family because I feel like I spent so much of my time there, and the only time I could go home honestly was like at the end of the month, and I would go home on a Friday, but Sunday I'm back.
Yes, weekend away.
Weekend away, so but
I was supposed
literally
to
taught me a lot.
I was supposed to go to PAX. So this was like PAX back in the day.
I know.
And then they were like, hey, when it's winter, there's ice coming out of the water. I'm like, I'm not going.
Wow.
I am not going. I only went. I was supposed to go. I can't remember whether it was primary school or beginning of high school. And I'm like, And then I went a bit later, standard 8. Then I went through to boarding school, then matric and university.
Yeah. So I think with me the same thing.
Yeah.
Matric, and then went to UJ, and I stayed a bit at home. For the first year I was traveling, to UJ every morning. I was staying in Fairy Glen with my parents, and until I found a place to stay in Joburg. So. Okay. And a lot of people don't believe this, but I stayed Small Street.
Joburg?
Literally, like I was in the deep city of Joburg, and I learned to navigate Joburg like crazy, In fact, the apartments that we stayed at, very beautiful. It was city property, very beautiful. It's just that the surrounding areas was very dodgy. So we were literally go police station.
Okay.
Is it the High Court? No, but it was a court. Literally, you'd hear police sirens the entire day.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. From boarding school to Small Street.
To Small Street. Wow. I love that. From boarding school to Small Street. And I think, I guess being in boarding school helped me to survive
Of
that.
course.
You know, I don't think it was that tough. It's just that it was just the whole thing of being in small street where, you know, it's apparently the most dangerous street, but I've never encountered any danger.
Have you seen anyone being marked there?
I haven't, but
You
I was
haven't?
just, no, I was just very fearful. Like, I was like, a lot of people speak so negatively about this place, so surely there must be something that is going on here. But I've never experienced any, you know, violence or anything like that. Maybe I was a bit privileged, but, you know, I did stay there for a couple of months, and until I moved to a commune outside UJ. Yeah.
All right. So, sorry for being interrupting.
No problem.
Yeah. So you're still
Yeah.
telling us. So you went from boarding school to UJ, small street, commune, and then?
Yeah. And then I found my way back to Pretoria
Okay.
when I started working. In fact, my internship I did.
So what did you study at UJ?
So I studied humanities development studies.
Mm.
And the funny thing is that I did not know what I want to study,
Okay.
right? Which is, I think, the biggest blunder.
Why
You know,
though?
in the sense that I feel like I was not well prepared for it, but it worked in my favor, I think. Because I remember going to UJ for the first time, and I think in the back of my head I was thinking, because I was very naughty in high school, so I thought, go pass, but it's not going to be so good. You know, so I held back a bit. I was like, let's just wait what happens. So when I passed, you know, I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting, you know, and I hadn't applied anyway. You know?
Well, you're one of those.
I was one of those. I was like,
Okay.
we'll see what happens. But when I passed, I was surprised. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
But what did you want to do? I mean, in high school, you know, people say, I want to do this. So when they asked you, what did you say?
It's interesting because I've always wanted to do marketing and PR. You know? And I remember I went to UJ Banton Road campus to inquire about public relations. However, my dad influenced me to do development studies because that's what he did. You know, he took me to UJ and he was like, do this course. I qualified. So I was like, okay, let me do this, you know. But I got to enjoy it, you know. I got to love it. I got to understand, you know, because I think we touched a lot of topics on, you know, social sciences, and also the psychology. So I think then that gave me the platform to say, okay, once I attain this degree, I can then do whatever I want. That's when I pursued marketing.
So you finished developmental studies?
Yes, I did. No, I did. I graduated, everything.
And then
I worked, So I did my internship at Department of Social Development.
Okay.
Yeah. So we were working with the EPWP project, Expanded Work Public.
Yes. Public Works Program.
Public Works Program.
Yes.
So our unit was handling this the social sector.
Is it when it was introduced?
When it was literally introduced.
Yes.
This was like 2020, because I joined them 2010 during the World Cup.
Yes.
I joined them 2010, so it was quite interesting. It was my first job, an intern, you know, straight from university, you know, and bright-eyed, aspirational, looking forward to life, you know, full of life. And
now I'm earning my salary. I'm not asking parents.
You know what I mean? Now I'm earning my salary. I'm not asking
clothes.
That's the thing, you know, you buy yourself clothes, you know how to buy your own cosmetics, you know. So that was very interesting. And, you know, at the end of the internship, it was like, okay, what next? You know, so the internship ends, and now luckily I was staying with my sister during the internship, so I didn't have to pay rent, but, you know, I helped with groceries. You know, she was like, you're not going to stay in my house and do nothing. So she taught me responsibility, right? Because being the youngest at home, I mean, like, you get away with a lot of things. So she was like, listen, girl, at least do the groceries. Not all of it, but just do something. So I did that. So at the end of the internship, it was very stressful. I'm like, okay, so now I don't even have money to buy my own makeup. What's going to happen to me? You know, so I think I stayed home for like 6 months until I got a contract at the Department of Science and Innovation. They were looking for temps doing registry work, actually. So we worked at the records management unit. which is very interesting, something I've never expected, you know, going through old records, you know, learning about, you know, what records need to be, you know, done away with, what kind of records do we keep as an organization, blah, blah. So it literally opened me up to something
So is it
new.
like those thing, I mean, there's this thing that you can keep records up to 5 years or something?
Yes, exactly that, yes.
And I don't know whether it's in the physical format, and then when you get rid of it, you must put it on the cloud. Is it something along those lines?
You know what? It was a very tedious project, because here we are dealing with records that are as older as me, like way older than me. You know what I mean? So, and some of them are damaged records. You can't even make sense. So there's no copy besides the physical copy. You know, there's no evidence that this agreement was made besides the thing that I'm reading. You know, so we needed to translate that into electronic.
Scan it.
To scan them.
My word.
It was a tedious.
I was watching a documentary on the Timbuktu manuscripts. So it's like, you know, I mean, it was quite an interesting documentary about how, as Africans, scholars, academics, they tried manuscripts. And obviously those manuscripts, because they're manuscripts, they are not published, right? So it's quite a lot of manuscripts. So they were in this library. I think former President Begi, you know, intervened, and they built this huge library, and they have raw manuscripts, like never published. So you can imagine the type of information, knowledge there. And I think there was some conflict in Mali, in the region. And then part of the conflict is they started burning part of their libraries.
Wow.
And they had to now take those manuscripts out. Some of them were damaged, so they had to take them out. Like, I mean, you know, if you appreciate information, that's gold, right? And then they show, now that they have to capture this thing and scan it, I'm looking at that process. And one page, and you can imagine at the end, at the edges, the pages are damaged. So you have to take like some, and then put it there, and page by page. I'm like, no ways.
Yeah.
When are you gonna finish?
Yep. Page, but I remember, like, when we were so excited, we were on this project. I think it was 5 of us, it was 5 girls. We were so excited. They literally opened up the storeroom. When I tell you, there were paper on the floor. There were shelves full of information. They were like, this information, the department needs it. Remember, science and technology was then arts and culture.
Yeah.
I think it was a combined thing.
Yes.
So they said information, but when they went, apart. So now you're sitting with information and decisions that were made. Like, we were reading things, and we were like, okay, this is interesting, you know. But unfortunately, that's all they had, you know. And that project was so huge that we could not even finish the project.
There's no way.
You know, and
it's gonna take you years.
It's gonna take the department years to literally
archive
all of that information. Very, very valuable information. So that was an eye-opening experience for me, that I felt like, okay, I can do this. And I guess, you know, when an opportunity presents itself, sometimes you're like, let me just take this. But I had a vision. I remember, like, we would walk, like, we're literally pushing trolleys, like, every single day. Like, some that we had to go shred when we were like, that's it. You know, we'd have these overalls. You come to the office well dressed. When you get there, get your overalls, get your masks, you know, and you're shredding. Like, you're shredding this heaps and heaps of paper.
Physical labor.
That's physical labor, you know. I remember as I was just, you know, pushing the trolley, and I'm looking up in the department, I'm like, one day I'm going to sit in the office. You know, one day I'm going to sit in the office. And an opportunity opened up again. We got another contract, now at HR.
Okay.
You know, so at HR, what we do, like, we take care of, you know, employees' personal files. We would package them nicely, record everything for them. You know what I mean? So I think those experiences literally just shape who you are. And it's something that you've never thought of. And because sometimes when people look at you, they've already labeled you, so like you can only do this type of work. But I think that exposure made who I am today, in the sense that I was able to be in an environment where I knew that this is not where I belong, but there's something I can learn from that. So it was physical labor. It was very demanding. But eventually I got a permanent job. I was interviewed for a position that I didn't even think I qualified for. So that's why I got into events management. We got into admin. So even while I was there, I just knew that this is not what I want to do. You know what I mean? Yeah.
What did you want to do?
Because I knew I wanted to. Marketing was my thing. I knew marketing and business was my thing. In fact, while I was working, doing all these odd jobs, I started a business on the side. My first business, I used to sell hair extensions. Yeah. I used to sell hair extensions, and I was like the marketing lady for the hair. And I needed to learn, the ins and outs of business. Because you'd get a supplier from China.
So you were also one of those importing from China.
Yeah, get your hair here.
When was this?
This was in 2015, end of 2014-15. Yeah.
But okay.
So in between then working at a job that I felt like, it's okay. It's a permanent job. I got it. I mean, even going into the interview, I don't remember what I said, because for me, it was never a path that I had envisioned for myself. But I mean, I grew in the role. I've come to love it, And I think for me, the biggest joy I got was, hosting events. Like we would host, your National Science Week.
Oh wow!
We would do the Women in Science Awards, and for me, that's where all of me just lit up. Because I just enjoy that interaction. I just enjoy the the planning of these events. So, but in between all of that, I was like, the thing that I want to do, which is business and marketing, I'll do it on the side.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So fast forward to when you left, did you leave? What happened?
Yeah.
Did they chase you away?
Yeah. No. So I left. And I think what pushed me, not even pushed me, but what really was the motivation behind leaving was that in 2020, when everything shut down, because our work was more on traveling, events, so admin,
COVID,
what I mean? When COVID happened, there's not much work, and
so you were in Pretoria.
I was in Pretoria. Okay. So
at the department,
at the department, so there's not much that was been done, and it just became a moment of self-introspection to say, you know what, actually I am in a position that is not your, what's the word that they used in COVID, your
essential services.
Essential services.
Yes.
Yeah. I was like, if really government wanted to cut out jobs, they'll literally start with the kind of jobs that I was doing. You know what I mean? Because life continued. Life continued. People were going about their lives, right? So that's when I figured that a time has come, and for me leaving, I had already known what I want to do, and I think from there I had started, female funded, I had started the pageant organization. Like I was like I started a lot of things because I knew that, my time there was literally coming to an end. And I remember even 2 years prior, like I'd always joke with a colleague of mine and say, you know what, this is my last National Science Week. Next year I'm not here. And he was like, really? I'm like, I am done. I am going, And he thought I was joking. I was like, that's it. So, when an opportunity opened, I was like, let me go.
So the opportunity was?
So the opportunity was working for full-time for the pageant. You know.
Which pageant?
So there was
Please,
a
educate me. Excuse my ignorance.
No, it's fine. So there's a pageant called Miss She Embodies SA. She embodies confidence. She embodies confidence.
Oh, she embodies confidence.
Yeah. So what we're trying to do with the pageant was that, going away from the typical pageantry where your height matters, your face matters, your body shape matters. So we were more looking into, let us create an environment where women can just thrive, an environment where we can just allow them to be themselves, and just capitalize on their internal beauty and their strengths, right? And that's why we thought She Embodies Confidence, would be the right platform, to launch this woman and create, just a group of women that, are able to just step out as themselves, you know what I mean? So when that opportunity came, I was like,
So was it like an organization that was running?
Yeah.
And you obviously joined.
Yeah. So here's what happened. So the organization started with a friend of mine who we were both working at the department at the time. So unfortunately he passed on.
Oh, sorry.
You know what I mean? So he passed on at a stage where we were about to launch. Okay. Right? So, and it just shifted a lot of things. Yeah. But I think we just had to do it. Yeah. We just had to do it. I had to speak to the wife to say, listen, this was an idea that we both had. Yeah. In fact, he presented the idea to me, a male. I was like, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it was very strange. It's like, what? Yeah. So he presented that idea to me. So, I was like, okay, cool. Let's just do it. So that's when I was like, you know what? With what I was doing with marketing, I could jump in and make this platform, something great. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
So it was still at ideation stage at the time.
That time was still in ideation stage, but we launched. We had the first pageant, which we held in 2022, which was very successful. And did we know what we were doing?
So that's when you left. Did you leave the department?
No, not there.
Oh, you were still
in the department. Okay. When we launched the pageant, I was still at the department, man. I mean, we had, a very good coverage. In fact, we had very good coverage. We even had like a front cover page, Daily Sun. That's how when Daily Sun was still alive.
Yes.
Yes. For me, that was like, oh, okay. This is something that we could do. And obviously, speaking to management then. Listen, this is something that we could do, right? So, however, we could not come to agreement, because remember the main guy was not there, so things were quite different because him who had presented this to me and we started working on it was not there. So it felt like it was shifting to a direction that we had not even anticipated, right? So I was like, oh, okay, cool. That was not a train smash, because anyway I had started the platform female funded, even while I was in the department, I started Sacred Brand, so there was a lot of things that I was doing
on the side
that actually I just looked and be like, it only makes sense. Even the marketing agency as well. Because part of the reason I did marketing, I knew that I'm not gonna want to work as a marketing intern and start from the ground. I just knew that I would want to own a marketing agency. You know what I mean?
So did you study the marketing?
Yes, I did.
Did you register? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was with UNISA, did my marketing, and I knew that that's the path I wanted, because that's where my passion, was.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happens with the department? Because you are doing all these things.
Yeah. So I think for me, my exit was more natural, because there were so many things that I was doing.
What was that thing that said, okay, I'm submitting, this is it? Was there something? Did your boss say, "Why are you looking like that today?" I was like, this is what I was looking for.
No, not even.
Okay.
Not even. In fact, the year before, I think it was in December. The year before, I remember I was in my room, and I knew that the Holy Spirit was like, write your resignation. And this like November, December.
What was happening around you that time? Holidays.
Was it holidays? It was not quite the holidays, but I think it was a moment when I was in prayer. I think I was actually in prayer, because I remember I had my Bible. I was Bible studying, and then I knew that the time has come, right? And I wanted to postpone. You know when you keep pushing, it's fine, I'll leave. It's fine, it doesn't matter, I'll leave. So I think that moment I wrote my resignation. Literally, I typed it out, and I put a date. I knew that by the end of the financial year, which was March the next year, that was it. So I wrote down, and I remember having a conversation with my boss, and I was like so scared, and the reason I was scared is because like I've spent so much time with them, and I see them as, as I guess they were like the brothers, the big brothers in the office, And I remember one of them, just said to me, "You know what, Morongwa? I knew this time would come. You never really were meant to be here for this long, And I think I was like, wow, what a relief, Because, sometimes, when you leave a place, because you've got so much attachment to that place, it becomes like an internal battle. I will not lie, like at some point I was like, it doesn't matter anyway, it's not like, there was not much work, so it didn't make sense to leave because you are home earning, anyway, but I knew I wanted more. I just knew that, I want more, and I know that my more is at the other end of me taking this bold step of faith. And I was like, let me just put in this resignation. You know what I mean? So yeah, I did. I told my boss, the time has come, and I'm pursuing this, and he was open to it. He gave me his blessing. So I was like,
so
it's all good.
First month unemployed, because basically you are unemployed.
First month,
we say self-employed, but unemployed.
Yeah.
There's no government in 15.
Yes,
exactly. At midnight.
Yeah.
So what were you gonna do the first? So when you left, you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm going to invoice. I'm gonna get paid at the end of the month.
Yeah.
Oh, what was happening that month?
I knew that. So my plan was with Sacred Brand. So I had already started selling Sacred. So Sacred Brand, is a business that we do scented candles.
Oh, yes.
We do home fragrances. So I had already done my research. I've already bought products. I've already done the labeling. I did all of that before I left. So I knew that one way or the other, something will give. You know what I mean? So I think also the thing with being so used to earning a salary is that your mind is already programmed to receiving once a month. So it was a shift. It was like
cushion.
It was a cushion, You knew that whether you perform or not, don't perform, the money comes. But whether
you misuse the money this month, there's another
opportunity coming.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
So you'll rectify.
You will definitely rectify. So I think with this entrepreneurship journey, and I always tell my friends, they were like, for me, I think the beauty of it, maybe the beauty and the bad of it is that, if you don't work, you don't eat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You eat what you hunt.
Exactly.
If you don't kill anything,
you don't kill anything, you don't eat that much.
Yeah.
So I think that part is the one that really excited me, but at the same time, it was a huge mental shift. Like I had to to be in a space where I don't have to rely on 15 for money to come, and with having a product, every day you make a sale is an opportunity to make a sale. So I needed to know that even when the money comes, you
have to be responsible.
I have to be responsible, because the money comes, I have to be responsible, because unfortunately a lot of times, entrepreneurs, you start, you need the money to do something.
Yes.
You eat from your business.
Yeah. I remember when I started, it's such a weird, it's a whole shift in thinking.
It's a huge shift.
And then when the money comes, you're even afraid to spend it because you don't know when is the next one coming. So you make sure that this one has to run the distance until the next check. It was such a, and it was like this fear also. It was this fear that, okay, I'm happy, but what lies on the other side of this? What did your parents feel? Your sisters, people around you. It's like, I'm leaving and I'm starting this thing. And, when you come from families who are not necessarily entrepreneurial, and you're the first generation entrepreneur, it's like, what?
What are you doing?
What are you gonna eat? Oh Lord, now we must bail you out.
Yeah. And boy, they do. Okay. They do bail me out. So luckily for me, entrepreneurship was not foreign, I grew up in an entrepreneurial home, like as far back as I can remember. It was always a thing of, listen, my mom would sell fruits, vegetables, every other thing, So I knew, in fact, my experience with entrepreneurship, how I encountered it, was very young because of just my mom being involved while my dad was here working, So my mom ran businesses, and I got a glimpse of it, during school holidays or Kadi weekend when I go home, and so in Mahayim, because we didn't have water, a lot of homes did not have water. I think we were privileged to have a borehole like quite early. Is that water was scarce, so my dad decided that why don't we sell water tankers? So what my mom would do, during that cycle mudende, where the money van goes to different villages, for the grant and stuff. So my mom would be that, like, this is I grew up knowing that,
So it was not a shock.
No, it was not a shock. It was not a shock. She would take me along. In fact, I would demand to go. Was very young, but I wanted to go because I was just so intrigued by the buzz of people getting their money and spending, by going to different stalls, and buying. Well, now it's called stalls because then you have your own space there, you put your own products there, and people come and buy. Like, I would be the one counting the the monies at the end of the day, how much have we made today, and that excited me, So it was an easy transition, honestly. It was not a shock that I would want to pursue this, and I think even, in fact, months before I left, my sister works for HR, right, Go Department of Health. So before I left, I already spoken to her. I was like, hey John, what's going on? How do we go about it? She was like, no, do this, do that, do this, do that. So it was not altogether a shock that I would want to leave, and pursue entrepreneurship, right? But I think to many of my friends that just did not understand it, like, why would you do that, But I think we reach a point where you feel like I want more, I want to pursue something,
It's like there's an emotional gap. They're not fulfilled.
That is not fulfilled.
There's something out there. This can't be it.
This cannot just be it, So I think for me it was easy in that sense that,
Okay. So let's go to your blunder. Take us through, you start the business. What happens?
So I started the business, and it went quite well, and which one went well? So Sacred Brand. So
The scented
you know, the scented candles and the home fragrances, and everything else was self-taught. It's like
YouTube.
In fact, YouTube. know. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna. In fact, I started it during COVID.
Yes.
It's like, okay, cool. I'm going to start this thing, and I think for me, what inspired it was the, being home during COVID. And thinking to myself, you know what? There is no time. The me time, just became a bit, too constrained, right? The kids are home the entire time, So I just felt I needed a place of escape, a place where I could it's just me and my thoughts, And for me, bath time was that, where you can just lock yourself in the room and just be like.
Okay.
In the bathroom, no one disturbs, and for me, that's a place where I could recollect, and have my thoughts, and run away from the busyness of being, a tutor, and having every other day having meetings, because it was quite foreign. Like, you'd sit on Teams. And have all of these meetings, and now everything else is happening all in one space, So I think for me, bath time became I just want to relax in the bathtub. So let me just create products. Like, I just started creating like silly things like face scrubs, and I think that it was like a huge thing, do face scrubs and do bubble baths, mix a couple of fragrance oils and So I was like, let me start this thing and see where it goes. And I was actually quite shocked. I was surprised. Like, had an online store, and
so marketing was not a difficult thing for you because that's your thing.
Yeah. And marketing was not a difficult thing, and I think you just have to want it. I think you just have to want it, and for me, I needed to prove to myself that I actually can do something, And I think as you grow and are in different situations, you tend to think that you are limited to just one thing, And I was like, I want to prove to myself that I can create something, and I think for me that's that's the success of entrepreneurship, just the courage to start something. Just conceiving this idea and birthing it. For me, I think it's what I would define as being, successful, because a lot of people stop right there at the ideation phase. It just becomes an idea until it doesn't become an idea anymore. You know what I mean? So I think then I was like, it became easier for me to do other things once this thing that I've launched and I've started is now people are buying, and I'm like, okay, people are actually buying, I remember having my first Yoko machine.
Oh, wow.
I was so excited. I was like, yes, I've got my Yoko machine, I did a lot of pop-ups, woodlands, I went to markets, I think the last pop-up I did was at, what bank was it? African Bank. In Midrand. Yeah, African Bank.
Yes, Midrand,
Yeah. So I was like, actually, I'm enjoying this, and in between all of that, I was still doing the marketing consultant, you know what I mean? And for me, I always used my business as a guinea pig, how can I best market my business and stuff. But I think for me, the biggest blunder that came with Sacred Brand was that one day I woke up and the website disappeared. Like, it was like nowhere, the online store. So I reached the tech guy. Dude, what's going on with my website? I can't access. And he's like, no, we've been hacked. So all his clients is like, we've been hacked. Give me 30 days. We will recover, whatever, So that was it. And when I said that was it, I was like, there is no way. One day, I wake up, this online store is gone. Nowhere to be found.
So, security features, cyber security, what?
And you know those things, and I've never done research. I just knew this guy, you know, is doing website. I reached out to him on Twitter. You know, gives me a code. I'm like, perfect. You know, he does. In fact, he did 2 other websites. He did the pageant website as well, and he did the Sacred Brand. You know, so I mean, I worked with him before, so I was like, you know, I trust him. You know, and the next morning I wake up, I don't have a business.
So okay, maybe let's back up. So you sleep. There are sales.
Yeah.
So when do you realize that something is wrong here? The following morning, what happens? I mean,
okay, so the following morning, what happens is that I try to log in, and it says,
which is a routine, I suppose.
Which is a routine.
Yeah.
And it says this thing does not exist. And I'm like, what do they mean it doesn't exist? You know, I was like, okay, let me try again. You know, nothing. So I reached out to this guy and I'm like, hey, I'm trying to log in. What's going on? You know, the website is literally wiped off. Literally business is gone.
So this was like a website, an online store.
Yeah, it was an online store
so
where people
can buy.
Yeah, people could buy.
So there was a payment portal on the website.
Yeah, I mean, it was. There was a payment gate. Yeah. You know, people could buy there, and when that disappeared, luckily I had Yoko. So Yoko, you can do sales on Yoko.
Yes.
So then I at least continued there. But I think that literally discounted. I don't know, for some strange reason, I just felt, yeah.
So you call him?
So I call him.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't have a store. What happened? He's like, I don't know. We got hacked. My guy is working on it, and give me 30 days or whatever days. I remember
you're running a business, 30 days.
And that's the thing. And I'm thinking, what do you mean 30 days? And I'm like, I'm so glad this is not the only thing I'm doing. Because it means that someone who is in the position that I'm in cannot make an income. Because the online store, it's normal. You know what I mean? So he says, okay, give me some time, I'm gonna work at it. You know.
How do you feel at that point?
Like, I was shocked, but also I was like, okay, they will come back. For some strange, I'm thinking like,
you were hopeful.
I was hopeful, like, why would someone want?
Yes, why?
Why? I mean, you know, we're not selling drugs, right? We're just doing normal business.
Yes.
So, and 2 weeks became 3 weeks, you know, and he just kept apologizing. We're working on it until literally I could not get a hold of him, blocked everywhere, you know, couldn't send him emails. And I think he just decided, you know what, because I was not the only one, like, and he was like, listen, I've got so many people this thing has happened to, like, my entire database is gone, you know. So I was like,
did you then maybe find out the others that also were in the same situation as you? Or you didn't know the others? I
just did not know them, and I'm sure I would have searched and I would have found out, you know, the other people. But I was like, you know what? I have an opportunity here to actually do something, right? It's a challenge, it's a business problem, right? That needs solving, right? So for me, Yoko became a platform. So I figured, okay, it's fine. I mean, I've got Yoko. I can always send links. People can buy from there, which they did. You know, it continued for that. But I never recovered because I was like, but you know, I spent money, you know, building this online store, and I mean, it's almost like waking up one day and your shop is burnt down.
Yes.
You know.
I mean, it's a
virtual shop.
It's the 2021 riots. You have a shop. One day you wake up, the following day they've vandalized, they've taken it.
You know what I mean?
But this time it's virtual.
Yeah, this time it's virtual.
So here's my thing. I mean, I mentored another lady. She had an online store, and apparently it was doing very well. And somebody hacked into it and wiped out everything.
Sure.
And so the logic in me says, and this is logic, maybe it's because I'm not in it. The logic in me says, okay, after a week or so you realize it's not coming back, why don't you do another one? Right?
100%.
Because she stayed for months. Like, she stayed for... So I'm in my mind, but why don't you start another one? I mean, clearly if this was working, like you say it's working, logic says, okay, it's not coming back, do another one. And so for me, she was like, this thing, it hit her emotionally. That starting another one, it's not the same. It's not going to be the same. Why would someone do that to me? What? So the emotion part of it, like, I think for me, the same question to you. Why don't you start another one?
Good question. You know, I think at that point, I just realized, you know what? Digital is not as permanent as someone would thought it would be.
Yeah.
So I think for me it was a lesson in itself to say it's okay, you know, to have both. And I think for me I then was pursuing a physical store.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So I was like, you know, it makes sense to have a physical store and an online store.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because then, you know, you get to, you know,
access people who are far from the physical
and
store.
especially with scents that I realized that people want to smell it.
Yes.
You know, as much as as much as you can make a description of what this smells like.
Yeah.
Someone does not know what nectarine smells like. Someone does not know what you know,
you can't smell it online.
Lavender smells like. You cannot smell it online. So for me, I think maybe that was pushing me into a physical store. You know what I mean? So that's why I continued even with pop-up shops. You know, I just continued, okay, let's do pop-up shops. Then at least, you know, you educate people on scent, you know. And so good question. Like, why didn't you just wake up and do another website? And I think for me, I'm stuck in the point that, like, why would you do that?
Yes.
You know.
So it hits you emotionally.
It does hit you emotionally.
Yeah.
Like, but why would you do that? You know, and I mean,
because sometimes you're even afraid if I do another one, they'll hack it again or something.
As I'm thinking,
It's
so now, you know, it's like what website was like. What I think I paid around 5-6K.
Yeah. You
know, it's like, so I must take another 5K
and do it again
from my sales.
Yeah.
And do another
and
website.
I wake up at some
and then
point,
I wake up again. It's gone. You know, so I lost that trust in that virtual space to say, if it can happen.
Yeah. Now it makes sense. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So then I pursued just the physical. Just the physical store.
Okay.
Like I would sell to people that, you know, I know, like face to face, personal people. Like, okay, cool, this is what I have, you know, blah blah blah. But I think also what I've also noticed is that, you know, sometimes when you start a business based on passion, when the passion dies out, when the desire dies out, it means that your business dies out.
Yeah.
You know, because we are human, we grow, we evolve.
Yeah, we evolve.
And business does not necessarily have to be something that you is a hobby. You know, because, you know, 2 years down the line, I'm no longer interested in that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So therefore, your business, it's easy for your business to
my mentor
to end there.
My mentor gave me this vivid picture. He says, I was like, no, I'm passionate about this business. It's like, tell me about your first girlfriend. Were you passionate about it? I'm like, yeah, I think I was passionate about it. It's like, where is she now? Are you guys together? I'm like, no. So it's like, passion is not enough.
It's not enough.
Right?
Passion is not enough.
You know, you need, there's more. For you, what was more beyond passion?
I think,
if you were to say to your daughter, I'm passionate about these things, like, okay, yeah, but, you know, it's good to have it, but at some point it fizzles out. What keeps this going?
I think for me, purpose keeps it going. I think if we're able to know why we do things that we do, you know.
So knowing your why.
Knowing your why is very vital because, you know, at the end of the day, I think even with female funded, you know, female funded was never for me. You know what I mean? It's for someone who wants to start, they don't know where to start, you know. And I started it as I'm starting my entrepreneurship journey because I felt that let's just do trial and error. Let's just figure this out. I don't have to be a very established in the sense of having 10 years in experience in business for me to start this. Let me start where I am, you know. Lessons that I've learned, I can always share with somebody else to say, listen, with the little that I know, this is what I can tell you, you know. So knowing the why and always remembering that, you know, even the products that you create is not for you. And I think a lot of time we make that mistake thinking that I'm creating it for me, therefore I'm the reason behind this product. But products are for people.
Yes.
You know, you are only just one person. Yes. You know, if it's just for you, then
and you're not buying from yourself anyway.
Exactly. You know. Yeah. So knowing why.
Yeah.
Knowing why.
Okay. But I mean, come on, Morogwa, I'm sure there are other mistakes. I mean, you've started so many of these things.
Yeah.
What are the other mistakes or the blunders that you can think of?
Yeah, I think the one that I also spoke on another platform was financial literacy.
Kitchen.
Financial management. Kitchen.
Yes.
Especially when you come out of a system of having a paycheck.
Yes.
You know, and having also, you know, getting used to having it consistently.
Yeah.
That when the money comes, if you are not strict with your budgets, if you are not, you know, consistent with your finances, financial management, then it's
give me
going to swallow
examples.
you
It
up.
sounds like it's high academic. Give me your example.
I don't know. I think for me, my examples would be, you know, every time you make a sale, a need arises. There's a personal need that arises.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you have to make a decision. Do I need this now? Or can I have it
so
later?
it's the battle between the needs and the wants.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do I need it now?
Yeah.
Or
can
it wait?
Let me ask you this question, which I think it's a question that it's not as entrepreneurs living a secure job, we don't ask ourselves, or we find ourselves in the situation, but we can't define. Let me ask you this question. How difficult or how easy was it for you to downgrade? Because entrepreneurship is going to force you to downgrade, because you are so used to this lifestyle, because there's a salary that's guaranteed. The salary is no longer there, right? Now you need to downgrade.
Yeah.
And I assume I've been through that. A lot of entrepreneurs had to go through that. And I don't think we are aware that we need to do that until the circumstances force you to, right? But before you get in, you think you'll manage, you'll sustain the status quo,
I got this,
right? Until, because entrepreneurship will show you see flames and you have to downgrade. How easy or how difficult was it for you to do that?
Sure, it was difficult. It was difficult to it was a battle. Like, it was a battle to downgrade, especially when you're used to you know, having things come, you know, and you know, now you need to shop less.
Yes.
Now you need to know how much this fuel is gonna last you for. You know?
Oh my word.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and you need to know how far this money is going to take you know. And I think a lot of times, you know, you've said it, that a lot of times we don't talk about the downgrading, you know. And I guess because, you know, every dream comes with a price, right?
Yes.
You know, for me, it's always been a matter of, I need new hair.
Yes.
You know, am I going to spend 7K on hair?
Yeah.
Or am I going to take it into the business?
Yeah.
But the old me be like, I need the hair. And I'm going to buy it. And I'm going to have it. Because I've got the money for it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But now, it's thin. You know, now there are responsibilities that are looking at you, you know. At the end of the financial year, SARS is looking at you like, okay, you know. So the downgrading for me, I think, was the hardest.
It is, eh?
Yeah, because we attach to the things that we have, you know,
and the lifestyle
and the lifestyles, you know, and you know, and for me, I even in the process, I lost my car, you know.
That's normal.
Yeah.
Welcome to that.
Oh, it's normal?
Yeah.
My goodness, thank
That's
God.
normal.
Okay.
If you haven't
I'm not
lost
the
your
only
car,
one.
no, if you haven't lost your car, you are not doing much. Yeah.
Okay, I'm on the right track. Right?
Yeah.
I'm on the right track.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I had my car repossessed, and I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, what life is this? You know?
Yeah, no, it doesn't get real than that.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
Thank you for
I
making
had to
me
take
feel
my
so
car
much better.
back, and then I haven't used a taxi in a long time. I don't even know how much taxis cost, and then I have to ask for a lift to the taxis, and the guy says, "Does your car have fuel?" That's like, yes. It's like, okay, let's go. And I'm sitting in the passenger seat of my car, and I'm driving to the taxis. Flip, it was painful. Then.
Yeah.
Now I look back and I laugh about it.
Yeah.
It's like,
No, it was painful. It was painful.
Yeah.
I mean, you wonder, is this worth it?
Yeah, true.
Really, is it worth it? And I think for me, what I define as failure then, entrepreneurship is when you stop at the problems, and I mean, I always say that, I mean, I can wake up one day and go back to 9 to 5, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It can happen anytime, you know what I mean? But it's
once you have tasted the thing of entrepreneurship, going back, you will go back, but it's a bug that hits, it doesn't go away. You'll always be doing things on the side. One entrepreneur said this quite, I think when we're talking about this topic of downgrading, and she says, that she had to early on make a decision to say, I am not going to buy clothes all the time, which means I'm not going to attend a lot of events all the time, because attending events means you can't be rocking up with the same outfit all the time. So she says, in order for me to be okay with not buying a lot of clothes, it means I have to be okay with not attending a lot of events, because then I know I don't have the pressure. Because as ladies, with almost every event that comes, you must look the best. Sometimes it means you must have different outfits. So she says, I had to make that decision early on that I'm okay with not attending events, which then takes pressure off buying new clothes. And she says, as human beings, you'll always have one area where you overspend your money on. And she was like, me, I buy books or whatever. If I'm gonna overspend, this is what I'm gonna overspend on. But then there's less pressure for me to keep up this life and to always. So I found it to be quite interesting to sort of say, okay, I'm going to cut out on every Friday, Puza, Thursday, whatever. I'm gonna cut that out. I'm gonna cut a whole lot of things out, and in return, I will spend my money on Netflix, and I'll just binge or do whatever, which is a very difficult decision to do.
It is.
It's not an easy decision.
It's not an easy decision. It's not. In fact, I think also with losing my car was that you have to go and market yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think I've been very privileged because I've always had access to cars.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been stranded. But I think in the beginning of it, I used to Uber to go and meet clients, which is costly.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was then privileged to to have cars made available to me. I was like, thank you, Lord. But that did create sort of a vacuum, because then I think I then detached from the whole marketing myself and stuff, but I think maybe that worked good, because then what I could do then was to focus on now the marketing consultant, which is my day-to-day business. You know what I mean? Where I'm always looking out for clients. I'm always making sure that clients have their social media, their marketing done. So yeah, the downgrading part it's real. It's real, and I think you have to come to an agreement and quickly accept the fact that money will not always be available. Even when it's there, it is already committed. You know what I mean?
Once into account is gone.
Yeah. Well, it flows right up. You know what I mean? Yeah, Peter, but
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
the experience.
So if you were to look at where you are now, and I mean we are wrapping up. If you were to look at where you are now, so failure would be a V. So there's a V where you come, you bounce, and you're out. You come up, or failure can be a U shape where you go through it, and the bottom is not a bounce out. The bottom is long before you come out. Where are you? Are you a V or are you a U shape? And if you're a U shape, where in the U are you? Are you still at the bottom or are you still coming out? Honestly speaking. Yeah. I was in the U for a while. And I'm out of the U, but I was in the U for a while. And yeah.
You know what? I feel like I'm in the V.
Okay.
Right? And I think I also am shocked at how resilient I was.
Yeah.
Right? In wanting to succeed. You know what I mean? And I think, I don't know, maybe what helped is that I've never focused on one thing.
Ah, yes.
You know what I mean?
So you've diversified.
Exactly. I've diversified, and I've never felt that when one thing is slow, you know, therefore I'm stagnant.
Okay.
You know, I've always, you know, been quick to adapt. I think, you know, to say, okay, cool, on to the next one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
you don't dwell on this.
No.
Okay.
No. I think I quickly made a decision not to dwell on it. You know, and for me, I always imagine it, you know, having different vessels.
Yeah.
You know, very empty vessels that, you know, there's always something in that vessel. You know, and you don't know which one is going to fill up quickly. You know, so I've always had the different vessels that I knew that if this does not work out, this works out.
Yeah.
You know, and you know.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think I'm more the V.
The V.
You know.
So you in and out.
I'm in and out of phases. Like I refuse to stay in a phase longer than I should.
Okay.
You know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Any lessons in conclusion? Do you look back? You reflect back? You know, your daughter comes and says, "Mommy, I want to do what you're doing." You know, what lessons would you share?
I think interesting. So with my daughters, like I always share with them the journey that I'm on, you know, and I think I've always made it a point for them to understand that there will be times when there is an abundance, there'll be times when, you know, scarcity hits, you know what I mean? So it's always been a thing of know where you are, know which season you are in, so that you can act then accordingly, you know. And honestly, you know, I've been also in that place where it felt like, you know, this thing is not working out, you know what I mean? And I think, you know, I was resilient enough to say, no, it will work out, and being able to say, I'm going to focus on this and that, you know what I mean? So therefore, it the lesson there is that, you know, don't put your eggs in one basket. And I think that's what my dad told me, you know, earlier on. But, you know, he was like, listen, don't put your eggs in one basket because you don't know where.
Very smart man.
You know what I mean? So I've always known that be on the lookout, you know, be on the lookout. There are pipelines, and I think for me, you know, as hard as it is, I think being a female entrepreneur, because I think for me the hardest thing, and what I will tell my daughters, that, you know, you need to know who you are in this business, especially being female, that, you know, you need to quickly discern who is for business and who isn't for, you know what I mean? Because sometimes, you know, you can be in these long conversations that take you nowhere. You know what I mean? So, you know the season, discern the season, know what version of you is required in a particular season, you know. And I think also the transition from scarcity to abundance is very tricky, because your mind is always on I need to figure it out. That you even forget that.
That's actually quite interesting.
That you even forget that I'm actually in abundance. You know, now you're operating
from fear.
Exactly. Now there's there's much more that you're doing. You know,
but
the income is coming, but you're still scared because you've been in that season before. You know.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I have a feeling we can talk forever.
Yeah, actually.
But yeah, it's quite a learning exercise.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I'd like to wish you all the best
Thank you.
and continue doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, it matters quite a lot. And you matter as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Awesome.